Well, motherfuckers, it's time for your Raw review. This show is okay. It wasn't crazy about a lot of things on it, but, you know, it was passable, I suppose. We started off with the Authority. Triple H says if Ambrose wants his match to be official, he's going to have to sign a contract. All he's got to do is step in the ring. But, of course, if he steps in the ring, he gets his fucking ass kicked. So Roman Reigns came out to defend Ambrose, and it sets up a tag match. It was Ambrose and Reigns, and they defeated Kane and Rollins. And we've seen this match 10 million times before. Nothing terrible, but nothing new. And I hate when they do this. This is a common WWE crime. Constantly doing the same fucking matches, especially tag matches. Except this one wasn't in the main event. It was at the beginning of the show. So it's different. Anyway, it was alright. Then backstage, Dean Ambrose is fighting with J&J Security. And the cameraman gets pushed into him. Later on, Ambrose ends up getting arrested for this because he assaulted the cameraman. The Authority intimidates him into pressing charges against Ambrose, even though he says that he was pushed from behind. So they handcuff Ambrose, and I guess it was kind of cool, the whole renegade thing with Ambrose getting arrested. It's been a while since we've seen somebody get arrested on television, with the exception of Stephanie. That was a bit goofy, last summer when that happened, but this was a little bit cool. Ambrose getting handcuffed and stuff. Then you had Rusev defeating R-Truth, and R-Truth looking like a fucking jobber in there. And I understand this squash match. I get it that Rusev is up here and Truth is down here, but if that's the case, why is Truth even in the fucking chamber for the IC belt? Does anybody believe or even think that R-Truth is anywhere close to getting the IC title? And if so, why is he in it? I don't get this. If the guy has no fucking shot, why even bother giving him a shot? It's not believable. It's totally unrealistic. It was kind of like the reason why he would be in the ladder match at WrestleMania. He's not a main eventer, hasn't been anywhere close to the main events, and when you put him in the match, it just kind of fucking cheapens it because it's just like a jobber's in there. That's not to knock Truth and his talent. I mean, he's a talented guy, but if you're gonna fucking step on him the whole year and then all of a sudden just throw him in a match at random, it kind of defeats the purpose of even having a match in the first place for a title. It's supposed to be prestigious. Top contenders are supposed to wrestle for it. So, the point here is lost to me. After the match, Rusev calls out Lana. He wants to make things right with her. And it looked like they were going to get back together. And then he says that Lana has to, say that she was wrong. Lana gets offended. She goes up the ramp and she starts making out with Ziggler. We saw this last week. Rusev on the mic, I am not a big fan of the guy's acting, especially when he acts angry. He looks like a fucking Looney Tune character. I mean, I understand comical faces and all that. Vince McMahon was a master of making comedic facial expressions, but this is not even funny. It's just fucking goofballish. I don't know where they're going with this whole thing. Lana and Ziggler, as I said, seems like a very, very weird couple. Her with the accent, him without the accent. But, I guess we'll see where it goes. And usually when I say that, it's nowhere good. Then you had Ryback defeating Barrett. It was kind of weird to see a guy like Barrett lose to Ryback. Especially after being king of the ring and getting built up. A guy like Ryback, loses on pay-per-view. Barrett, Barrett, who they're trying to protect, loses cleanly to Ryback. It was an alright match, nothing too terrible about it, but a bit, confusing. Soon, if you would think that Barrett's been on fire since being King of the Ring, don't you think that he'd at least like lose to somebody more worthy than Ryback, who's being built up a bit more, who's being protected? Ryback hasn't been protected lately, so for him to get the win here doesn't make a lot of fucking sense. It's nice to see surprise wins, but I don't really think that Ryback deserved it here. No offense to CM Puke. Then you had Neville defeating Stardust. Neville was just being fucking boring in this match. Um, he's still selling his injuries from Bo Dallas. Bo attacked him after the match. As I said in the past, I am not a big fan of Bo's in-ring skills. He's good on the mic, but the match where Neville took the title from Bo, I remember saying was a very, very disappointing ladder match. It was like Bo Dallas wasn't even into that match, really. He had no idea how to even go about using the ladder. And I also don't understand why they're getting this guy out of like a fucking 10-year sleep, basically. He hasn't been on TV in God knows how long, and they just get him to come out of fucking nowhere. And there you go. There's your match. Neville needs a feud. Let's get a guy who hasn't been on TV for a whole fucking year. I guess it might end up being decent, but Jesus Christ, there's the continuity. This is the same thing with R-Truth. Guy's not there for fucking months and comes back and we're supposed to care again. A bit of consistency would be nice, there's something to fucking make sense. You can't just have somebody not be there and all of a sudden just be there out of fucking nowhere. It's fucking outrageous how they want you to do. It's like a character on the show. Just take any of your favorite shows. This would be like The Walking Dead. Say if fucking I don't know, Carol or somebody just disappears for like a whole fucking season for no explanation and just reappears. You're gonna be like, what the fuck happened? It doesn't make sense. It's the same shit. Then it was Sheamus defeating Ziggler. Rusev distracted Ziggler. I'm really getting fucking sick and tired of this fucking match already. It's enough. I understand that there's a point to the feud where, you have, constant matches, but it's enough already. I'm getting bored of this. I don't like it. I also do not like Sheamus's new look. I've had enough time to digest it, and it's just not a good look for him. I wish he would go back to the old style. And I still like Sheamus. I think that he's one of the few big men that actually sells, and he does some cool shit, like when he could do the skinning the cat on the fucking ropes. So Sheamus is talented. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think he's boring, but they need to find a niche for him. When he first came in, he was beating Cena and shit and controversial matches. It was going good for him. Now it's like, kind of not really where he was at all. He needs to they need to fucking buckle down and find something good for Sheamus. This whole thing with Ziggler is not going anywhere. It's not doing anything for either of them. It's Ziggler his career is not growing from this. It's just like a stagnant feud. It's and it didn't help that the whole thing was they wanted to have each other kiss their asses. That was fucking gay. All right, I'm just gonna say it there. No offense to people like that. This is not homosexual or anything, but this has no place on fucking wrestling. They're past the ass kissing, I guess, but still, it's time to end the feud. Go on to something different. Then you had John Cena coming out for the U.S. Open Challenge, and this was a pretty good promo, I have to say. Not bad. Not a bad promo from Cena. Cena can cut a good promo. It's just that, the material he's given, if when it's not a fucking stupid-ass Star Wars promo or some shit like that, it could be good. And this was a pretty good John Cena promo. I mean, he talked to the fans. He said, acknowledged that, a lot of people hate him, and he thinks that, Kevin Owens is just another guy that people are, rooting to beat Cena to take his spot, as the top guy. Um, then the cast of Entourage came out. I know a lot of people are not crazy about this in the YWC, but I was actually happy to see them. I actually really liked the show on HBO. And, I will end up probably seeing the movie. I do enjoy those characters, especially Kevin Dillon. And it was cool to see them. And the little backstage segment with Stephanie McMahon and mentioning that Ronda Rousey was in the movie. And they had Turtle or Jerry Ferrara, make fun of Stephanie like unintentionally. And it was a good segment. Anyway, they introduced Zack Ryder because, sadly, this is the last show in Nassau Coliseum, and there would have been a fucking riot if Zack Ryder, remember Zack Ryder from fucking 4 years ago? This man in the ring fucking destroyed his fucking career. Remember that? When Zack Ryder was in the fucking wheelchair and he started making out with Eve, just destroying the man's reputation, making the fans forget about Zack Ryder. I've never seen a man fall that far, but at least he had one moment of glory here, and there's people that are upset that Zack Ryder didn't win this match, and get fucking real. Really, let's stop living in a fantasy world. Do you really expect Zack Ryder, who hasn't been consistent on Raw in fucking 4 years, do you really expect Zack Ryder to come back and, and beat Cena? Beat John Cena? You must be living in a fucking dream world if that is the case. There was no way that was going to fucking happen. But it was a pretty decent match. It was only like 5 minutes. Ryder hits the Unprettier or the kill switch. He hit the Christian move. And, it was a decent match. We all knew that Ryder wasn't going to win. But it was the last match, the last fucking, chance Ryder would get to wrestle out on Long Island. This is Nassau Coliseum's last wrestling event ever. Kind of sad I didn't get to go to it. Not like this was a real spectacular show, but for, the historic significance of it. It's the last show, and I've been to so many fucking wrestling shows at Nassau Coliseum. It would have been nice to go see this one, but, I didn't get the chance to go. But anyway, decent enough. Then you had Tamina defeating Paige. What a boring ass fucking match. And this is Paige's first match back. What a fucking boring piece of shit this was. Tamina's got to be one of the worst fucking women's wrestlers out there. And the same thing goes for fucking Naomi. When she's not botching a high spot, she's fucking botching something in the middle of the ring. It's Tamina. It should be Team Botch, for God fucking sakes. What a pile of shit. Then you had a 10-on-3 handicap match. New Day versus every team that they're going to be facing in the Elimination Chamber. And this was like over in about a minute. They threw the match out. It was like a no contest. Everybody started flying to the outside of the ring. There was no reaction for any of these fucking teams until Lucha Dragons came out. The alright segment, I guess, to promote the match, but, a lot of these teams no one gives a fucking shit about. Then you had the Authority back in the ring, and they were mocking Dean Ambrose for getting arrested. But then Dean Ambrose ends up coming back in the fucking paddy wagon. He comes out, he drives it out, kind of like Stone Cold with the Zamboni. He comes in the ring and starts beating up Rollins and the whole Authority with Roman Reigns. And it's a pretty good end segment, coming out with the vehicles, You know, reminds me of the good old days. You know, Kurt Angle with the milk truck. You know, the Zamboni with Stone Cold, or you know, the monster truck with Stone Cold, or you know, any of that fucking shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, it was a passable show. I had a lot of problems with a lot of, you know, people just popping out of nowhere, jobbers that are all of a sudden, you know, we're supposed to care about again, and you know, just general raw shittiness. But it was an all right show. The match with Ryder, couple of good moments, you know, a good finale to the show. So you know, I guess it was all right. And I am slightly looking forward to the Elimination Chamber with Kevin Owens and John Cena. I'm really looking forward to that fucking match. And yeah, well, I guess for the next review, I'll see you for the Elimination Chamber, motherfuckers.